Hey guys, I had a YouTube subscriber that told me the other day that he thought it was time for me to have another story time, and I'm glad there's a few of y'all that like story time. And I was trying to think of some stories that I'd like to share with you, and uh, I have some that's wrote down on a piece of paper I have here. But I have a lot of stories, but some of them, unfortunately, I probably can't talk about on YouTube. So trying to come up with some stories that have happened that I thought were kind of strange. Just to give you, this story time, by the way, is stories about me. And I'm trying to tell you a little bit about myself as we go along. So uh, I will say this, all my life I've had people that have played jokes on me. I don't know why. I either have that kind of face or personality. I'm not really sure. But even my mama said that when I was little, or not little, but a boy, she said, you're kind of gullible, which I always thought meant kind of stupid. Anyway, I'm going to tell you one of the stories that I'm having to look at my list, and I made a list of some stories that I thought would be kind of entertaining. One of them is a place I used to work at not too long ago. I was running a welder, a robotic welder, and is a good job, just running a robotic welder, and I was kind of by myself in this particular area, and I was singing to myself and all this stuff, and my neighbor. Anyway, my friend, really good friend of mine, come up to me, and you had to wear safety glasses, steel-toed shoes, earplugs, the whole 9 yards, arm guards, everything, so you wouldn't have metal fall on your foot or cut your arms or anything, and stuff like that does happen. Anyway, I was working at that little robotic welder, and I was singing to myself as I always do. I can sing all day, Elvis or something, all the time. So entertaining myself, and my friend come up to me, and he, I was looking at him to see what he wanted, or just come by just to shoot the breeze for a minute, and he, let me rest my arm here. His lips were moving, but I couldn't hear him. And, I thought, what's going on? So, as I said, I had earplugs in. I took my earplugs out, and I could hear him just fine. And I thought, what's going on here? So, per regulations, I went ahead and put my earplugs back in, and I couldn't hear him again. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. It's really, really freaking me out. And I thought, I thought if I sung to myself so much that I can't hear or something. Anyway, after a couple of minutes, he finally burst out laughing. And what he was doing, and y'all probably think this is silly, but you just have to know me, but what he was doing, he was, whenever I had my earplugs in, he was just doing this, talking. But he wasn't using his voice. And I couldn't get mad at him because, dad blame it, I was just tickled to death I could hear. So that's one time. And of course, he had a big laugh about it and told everybody. Of course, everybody come around going to me. So anyway, that's one. Another time was, I'm real bad about when I'm walking or anything. I'm always looking for coins, pennies and stuff like that. And I always think that the Lord is letting me know that he's thinking about me. And I find coins in the oddest places. And it always makes me think of the Lord, to think that the Lord is thinking about me in the strangest places or wherever you're at. The Lord is always thinking about you. So I always pick them up, the coins, whatever they are, pennies, nickels, dimes, and I put them in my wallet by my driver's license. And if I see somebody that I think is having a bad day, or maybe life's turned around on them, that's, something's going on in their life, I think about those coins and think about how good the Lord's been to me. So I'll reach in there and I'll give them a coin. If anything else, just for good luck. And it's real important to me. So anyway, my friends figured out, I was bad about picking up coins. So we was on our way to break one day. I was working 12-hour night shift, 6 in the evening till 6:30 in the morning. So I was working 12-hour nights, and my friends, as I said, knew that I used to be bad about picking up coins. So we was going to break. All of us was going to break to take a 10, 15-minute break. And sorry, I'm shaking. It's kind of cool out here. And try to hold this better. Anyway, we was all going to break, and I looked on the aisleway, and there was nickels and dimes and quarters and pennies everywhere. And I was going, oh boy. I have a bad habit of saying oh boy a lot. So I said, oh boy, and I started reaching down to pick them up and took my gloves and everything off, and I was trying to pick them up and I couldn't pick them up. So I went to the next coin. They was quarters and everything, and I couldn't pick them up. And my buddies were saying, pick them up. And, and I tried every one of them, and come to find it out, they had glued them to the floor. So they was all hee-hawing about it. And after a while, I thought it was pretty funny too, I guess. Anyway, that's what I was saying about people always picking on me. And it's been that way my whole life. I don't know why. But another time is kind of funny that I'll tell you about. If you'll notice in my videos, a lot of my videos, I'm mentioning I'm drinking coffee. I can drink coffee all day long. I love coffee. I don't even eat breakfast hardly. Very seldom do I eat breakfast. I just start drinking coffee. So I was drinking coffee, and at the time, my wife and our 2 boys lived with us. They weren't grown up yet. I was correcting one of them one morning, and I forgot what he had done, but he done something he knew he wasn't supposed to be doing. So I was correcting him, and I was I was pretty much right up in his face, and I was getting on to him, and I was waiting for his response for what I had told him he had done wrong, and was he going to do it again or whatever it was. I don't remember. But what I do remember is he said, man, your breath is kicking. And I just burst out laughing, and my wife did too, and that was just pretty funny. I guess it's probably one of those things you had to just been there. I'm looking down at my list. I hope you find all this stuff funny. There's so much sadness in the world right now, and people being quarantined and stuff. And I thought this video might be a good video to cheer people up. That's my whole intention anyway. Okay, I'll tell you about another time that happened to me. Once again, I was working 12-hour shifts, night shifts, 6 in the evening till 6:30 in the morning. Well, my wife would be home with our 2 boys that I mentioned. They weren't grown up yet. They were still here living with us. And I was always in a hurry. I'm one of those kind of people that if I have to be at work at 6, then I'll be there, like at 5:30. I like to get to work early, get everything all settled in and ready to go to work. At the same token, I'm one of those kind of guys that when it's time to go home, I'm ready to go home. And I don't wait around and all this stuff, I'm ready to go. I'm tired, I want to go home. So working 12-hour night shift, 12 hours, 6 to 6:30 in the morning, I didn't get to see my wife or our 2 boys very much. So it was pretty important for me to get home in a hurry so I could see them before they went off. My wife was working and the boys went to school. So I would hurry home and do my best to get there where I could spend as much time with them as I could. And a lot of times I'd take them to school. I think I did every morning. Anyway, I got in my car. It's time to leave. I got punched out at the time clock. And, I was always running to my car or my truck, whatever I drove that day. And, all my friends watched that movie, Forrest Gump. And they'd always say, run, Forrest, run. Of course, they knew I was trying to get home and see my wife and 2 boys. And anyway, one day, I was running to my car, going to get out of the parking lot first so I didn't have to wait in a big long line at a traffic jam to get out. And I got in my car, started it up, put it in gear, and wouldn't go. Couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. I put it back in park and got out and looked at the car, couldn't see nothing wrong with it. Got back in, put it in drive and giving it gas, and it wouldn't go. So I opened up the driver's side door, the driver's side, I'm the driver, opened up the door, and my wheels were turning, but it just wouldn't go. And I got a closer inspection of that, and they had jacked my car up a little bit, just a little bit, just enough to get it off the pavement so I wouldn't notice it. Man, was I mad. I was mad, but my buddies had hung around that whole time waiting for my reaction, and I blew up, and it's funny now, and they got a big kick out of it. But anyway, that's something else that's happened to me. Strange thing.